All right. The arguments have all been given as to why the FTC thinks that Microsoft should not be able to acquire Activision. And at the same time, a lot of other people have given their testimony. I don't necessarily care whether or not Microsoft will acquire Activision or not. I think the reality is they don't even need Activision. In fact, I think it's probably just a big spend that probably, in my opinion, does not really take into account a lot of things. But nonetheless, I think it's still a strategy that kind of, in a sense, puts PlayStation in a very interesting position, especially with all the information that we have now. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching this and you want to come to this from an objective perspective, I think you can see that there are a lot of numbers that to me seem to be making PlayStation to have concern with this particular merger. Now, this particular video is not here to talk about, oh, Sony buys studios or makes, games exclusives while Microsoft wants to go ahead and acquire a whole publisher. Ladies and gentlemen, the market doesn't care about the feelings of what somebody may think is, in a sense, fair or not fair. What is actually in the market plausible and viable is what the market is willing to pay. And the market for the longest time has been pining over Call of Duty, including PlayStation themselves. So that to me was very interesting because many of you know I've been saying on this channel for the past few months, even weeks, that PlayStation farms a lot of these live service games, packages all that 30% that they're getting, uses it to make these expensive, single player games to be able to build their ecosystem. So at the end of the day, Sony's, business model is actually really sound. It's not value, it doesn't give a lot of value, in my opinion, when it comes to value, proposition perspective, because Microsoft is actually doing better when it comes to value, how much dollars you save in your pocket. But nonetheless, they found a way to be able to convince, their customer base that they're making these high quality games, and that's exactly what they're doing. But nonetheless, these consumers are not necessarily, or before this FTC hearing, did not want to accept the reality that these high quality games, they cost a whole bunch of money. And Sony has been getting that money from games like Call of Duty and everybody else that puts their games on their platform. So when you think about it, Sony's biggest, deal here is that Microsoft is not able to get this acquisition because I just think from a, perspective of, optics, it makes almost no sense if they were to start paying, or if they were to start making sure that they paid Xbox a huge amount of money in terms of the publisher fees or splitting profit at the end of the day. And then another thing too is this puts a dent in their anti-competitive model, in my opinion. Basically, that's pretty much what it is. I don't think they really care about competing. I think all they want to do is just pretty much dominate the market. But this entire conversation has really changed the game, and it's interesting to see how everybody is taking it. Now, I'm not here to bother about taking sides or whatever. I've told you guys already that at the end of the day, if you actually consider what's going on, you'll realize that the business and the market is a very brutal place. And I think that's right now what's being, seen is this brutality is what's going on right now. In fact, if anything, if you ask me, I expect that the judge will probably rule in the FTC's favor, probably as not to embarrass them, but they already embarrassed themselves because at the end of the day, the FTC was not able to, in my opinion anyways, provide any substantial, argument as to why this, merger is going to affect consumers. Because anybody who may tell me that, oh, this merger is going to affect consumers because it's a publisher, you're talking nonsense. Because at the end of the day, Call of Duty is still going to be on, the PlayStation platform. So that's not really a big deal. What you're afraid of, and maybe what you're concerned about, I think it's more like, in a sense, fear or something, is the fact that the other, games that Activision makes may never appear on the PlayStation platform, as well as the Bethesda games that are now going forward not going to be appearing on the, PlayStation platform because the gatekeeping that Sony is doing seems to have gotten, the best of the executives in the Sony side. But I really enjoy all of this. I'm really happy that a lot of these details are coming into play. We're starting to see the, redactions get basically botched, and we get to see how much it costs to make these games. And when you start to pit it against one another, you'll start to realize that there is actually more to this than actually meets the eye. But I'll jump into a little bit more in terms of the conversation later on, and we'll talk a little bit about Game Pass. We'll now do a comparison as to the profit analysis, in a sense, what we think, these are projections assumptions and these are hypotheticals, but it really will make a whole lot of sense when things start to actually get broken down. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys in another video. I thought I'd make this video just to put a pin in this whole conversation because I've been very quiet. I waited till we got to basically this point before making any more videos because I'm not really concerned about the merger. I don't know if many of you remember my last video. I actually made a case why I think Activision should not be acquired by Microsoft, but I'm going to probably make another video here in the next few days talking a little bit more about why I believe this is the case. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. We'll talk pretty soon, hopefully in another one. Peace out.